A little video, a little audio. Let's get the Beastly thoughts up on the screen. A little twosome. Say hi, Beastly.
Hey, man.
Hello.
Good to see
Can we do like a fist palm? Fist bump. There it
you.
is. What's going on, Beastly? How you doing this week?
I'm doing real good, man. I had a hell of a week. I played lots of games and enjoyed family. Just got done making a banana pudding. I'm feeling good about myself. I
Oh,
got my fucking beard back, so I'm half of a man.
whoa!
Yeah.
A banana pudding and a beard all in one
You
week.
can't fucking
A
lose it, man.
fucking banner week, dude.
Yeah. So
I'm
everybody,
glad to see you, man.
oh yeah, man. Every Sunday is always the way that it's the cherry on top of the Sunday for me. Getting together with one of my dearest friends, usually two, as people may notice.
Yeah,
One of the hosts is invisible today, and his microphone isn't
yeah.
working.
He had to work today. No, he didn't have to work. He had to
He
go visit family,
he had to
right?
go visit family today in Canada, and in Canada, a family vacation or a trip can be 500 miles. So I mean,
That's a it's a
so
big country,
so Robbie isn't going to be with us today, but we know he's here in spirit. But we still got
right?
stuff to talk about, and I know I had a great game, a great week playing my games this week, and we were talking about some awesome stuff pre-show. Let's get to it for the fans.
All right. So I want to start off. Okay, so I've been playing on my PS Vita this week, and I wanted to talk about it with you a little bit because I know that you're a huge PS Vita fan.
Absolutely.
And I have two of them. I have one of the old versions, and I have one of the newer versions. It's more the slim one, like it's more rounded and it's slim, which I find to be, even though it has a technically worse screen, it's an LCD screen instead of the
OLED.
OLED that was in the original. I find this to be a much better system than the old version, just because it's so much more comfortable for me to hold in my hands. But I've been playing not Rocket Knight. I'm sorry. I've been playing Shovel Knight on it a lot. I finally got around to playing that, and I was really hating it. I was hating on it hardcore because I was playing it on my old Vita. Though I have that downstairs next to the couch, so I'm watching a TV program that I'm not necessarily that involved in. I'll pick up the Vita and I'll play a little bit. And I was hating it, man, because like my hands are cramping up on that thing, and I find the D-pad to be super unreliable. Like, I just want to hold straight down, and like Shovel Knight's going this way and that way.
Man.
I'm like, oh, this thing is driving me crazy. So what I did is I grabbed this one, which was upstairs in the office. I charged it up. I threw Shovel Knight on it, and I'm like, holy shit, this system is amazing, right? Shovel Knight turned out to be like a AAA game as far as I'm concerned. It's just so much fun to play. The controller is so much better on this one. The D-pad, I don't know if it sticks out more. I don't think it's any bigger.
Wow.
I wish it was a little bit bigger. You can see. I got a PlayStation controller right here. You can see how small the D-pad is compared to like a controller. It's kind of
Okay. Yeah.
a little bit difficult to
Yeah.
see.
It
It's a
is.
lot smaller on the Vita, which I find to be, I got big thumbs, I got man hands. I found it to be, somewhat inaccurate because, I'm so used to like a full size controller, but it is much more accurate on the new one. That I am really enjoying this PS Vita, and I was actually watching one of your videos about a possible successor to the PS Vita. I'm not sure actually. Were you saying that there's going to be a successor, like another version, like an upgrade from PSP to PS Vita, or just another version of the Vita?
Well, at this point, it's basically rumor and conjecture, speculation at best. But industry insiders have leaked information about the upcoming PlayStation event on September 7th, and they've leaked chip ID numbers, or I guess GPU chip identification numbers, and they leaked two.
Mm-hmm.
One is very similar to the PlayStation 4 that we have now, as far as the actual numbers that coincide with the GPU, and the other is very close to the original PlayStation Vita. And so people were speculating that it could be a new GPU for the Vita, it could be an upgrade to the Vita, it could be the next generation Sony handheld. And first of all, let me just say this about the story you just told. I had no idea that playing the game on the OLED versus the new would have made that much of a difference. I've
Oh, it's huge for me.
never even held the new one before. So that really,
Oh, really?
no, it piques my interest. There's 5 Vitas in my house, and they're all the original OLEDs. And I just never would have thought that the newer version would have, you know, I guess the way that they crafted it, it's more better suited for adult hands.
Yeah,
That's
the back of it, like there's more area for me to hold my hands. Like the touchpad on the back is smaller, so it's more comfortable for me to like put my hands kind of like this.
yeah,
There's just more room. I don't have to like do this all the time.
got you.
You know what I mean? And then the screen I think is actually a little bit bigger, even though it's not the OLED screen that was on the original, which looks, the colors are brighter and more vibrant. But the screen is fine. Like the LED, it looks great. It's not like a bad screen by any means. But yeah, the main thing is it's lighter, it's thinner, and it's more comfortable to hold and to play. And I think that the D-pad is actually a little better too. I still don't like the nubs, like the thumbsticks. I still don't like them. As much as I wanted them when I was playing PSP games, I'm not happy with their implementation on the Vita. Like they're just not big enough to be accurate to me. It might as well just be a D-pad.
Well,
But yeah, I mean it's a really nice system. I'm hoping. Didn't they say that they were going to get rid of it altogether? They stopped support for it?
Basically they stopped support for it. They never said that the Vita is going to go away right now, or it's going to go away in 2017. They haven't said it, but people have been reading between the lines because there's really nothing coming out for it. No one's really supporting it. You get a few indies, every couple of months, and so for all intents and purposes, from the eyes of the public, the Vita is dead. But my opinion on the whole possibility of a new Vita is pretty optimistic. Sony, for a company as big as Sony, and they have so many different avenues of income, PlayStation is their dominant force when it comes to making money. PlayStation has basically saved the company when they were drowning in debt and losing money, in every avenue of business. And the PSP was a huge success. A lot of that success was due to the fact that it was easily hackable. But the PlayStation 3, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 2 have all been very successful for Sony. And I believe that the Vita was a misstep. I think that Sony didn't support it the way that they needed to. I think that the developers didn't want to jump on board and support it either. But if Sony intends on continuing to make money through the video game avenue of their company, they need to jump on board and try to find as many ways to make money in gaming as possible. If they're going, as far as putting both feet in the water when it comes to VR, something as simple as making a dedicated handheld shouldn't be that much of an issue. I think that
the problem to me though with handhelds is that you say the PSP was a success. I didn't really see it as that. I saw that they introduced the UMDs. That was a huge failure. The UMD movies, just carrying around UMDs like these little discs didn't make any sense compared to Nintendo in their cartridge-based format. It was just much more convenient to have those little cartridges than these discs, which were very delicate. You could download games to the PSP, but I never really thought that thing took off. The PSP Go I thought was really cool hardware, but again, it didn't really take off. And then they came out with the Vita, and I love the idea of the Vita, but it was so uncomfortable to play. I don't know like who they designed this thing for. It was terribly uncomfortable for me to play. And this is the second generation Vita is like the best hardware I think they've ever made in a portable space, but it's so hard for them to compete with a cell phone that's just already in your pocket, right? It's there already, so like it's so how do you make a handheld that competes with your iPhone or your Android device?
Well, in my opinion, it's a pretty easy answer, and I'm sure a lot of people will agree and some people may not, because I know there are tons of people who play RPGs on their phone, who play RTSs and first-person shooters. But for me, the deciding factor between a handheld console and a mobile device is touchscreen versus an actual controller. For me, that is a huge difference, that degree of control that you have when you actually have tactile buttons that you can actually move around and feel and articulate, and it translates to a screen.
But you can get a controller for your phone. You
can, but how practical? How often do you see people do that?
Not very often, but I also don't see people too often, carting around a PS Vita or even really a DS at this point. I rarely see a DS out in the public. Like most people I know, their kids have them, and their kids bring them everywhere because they don't have cell phones anyway, or they have them sitting next to the couch.
I see them, believe it or not, I see a lot more 3DSs out in the wild than I see Vitas. Every now and then I'll go to a Best Buy or something, and I'll see somebody walking around, usually a guy, he's got his Vita out or his 3DS out, and his wife is looking at movies. So they do exist. But for me, if Sony was able to capitalize on that mentality and create a device that works well, that you're able, it doesn't break your hand, like you said, an Egyptian torture device, like the Vita was, right? Uh, Honestly, if they're able to put something in your hand as comfortable as maybe a 3DS, but it has the newer technology and hardware that really accents the kind of software that's being created nowadays, downloadable, and give you something similar to a home console experience on the go. That's something that most phones can't do. And Nintendo, believe it or not, is 100% doing that. They're going out.
Nintendo's got a different
They're going after
angle
the
on it,
mobile
though. 'Cause
market. They're going after the handheld market, and they're going after the console market at the same time. I mean, just
yeah, that's really smart. Like, it's a cool idea they got. I don't know how successful it's going to be. I don't know what Nintendo's feature is going to be, but I can tell you I'm excited about the Nintendo
yeah.
NX as far as we know it's going to be called. But what really excites me about it the most is the Nintendo properties and being able to play that on any game I buy for the NX, being able to play that portable and on the TV, right? It's genius,
Yeah.
right? I don't think that Sony can offer that with the Vita or a Vita 2 or whatever that next thing would be.
Well,
I don't know how they compete with that. And to me, it's like if I really want a mobile gaming experience, like the NX, it's going to be where it's at. I don't know how Sony can fit into that between the NX and a cell phone. Cell phones, I mean, games on cell phones are really popular now.
yeah, and believe it or not, games on cell phones graphically are so damn intense. I think Kate and my kids are watching
the
trailer
hardware of a
last
cell
night.
phone.
They thought it was a console game, and it was on iOS. So I mean, it's really, really getting up there. But the thing is, Sony has been on the same page as Nintendo for quite a while now, and a lot of people don't realize that. Back in the day when the Super Game Boy came out, and you were able to plug your cartridge into the Super Nintendo, put your Game Boy game into that cartridge, and play your GBA games or your Game Boy games on the television. That whole idea transcended and continued on with the Nintendo GameCube. When PlayStation made the PSP, they included, well, not included out of the box, but you could buy a peripheral where you could plug it into your PSP and play it on the television, right? And then they kind of,
Yeah, but who did that?
I did.
I bought the adapter. I did it too. I bought the adapter, but it looked awful. It didn't even fit like on a 1080p screen. Like, it was a shitty experience.
Yeah, well,
but I did it. You're right. I did it too.
When the PSP came up,
I was playing Patapon on my fucking big screen TV.
you know. See, and when the PSP came out, 1080p TVs weren't out successful, anything like that. We were kind of going from the old kind of into the new. But I think Sony has kind of been on that same page. Even with the PlayStation Vita, they made the Vita TV to give you that option to play these kind of games on your television. So I think that Sony could.
Yeah, but that was a bust too. That thing.
It was a failure. But how do you find success? You find success through failure. The most successful people.
Or you stop throwing bad money after bad, or good money after bad.
Well,
like you just like, okay, this isn't gonna work. Like, how do we compete with a cell phone that costs $1,000, right? Like, they can't release something that can compete hardware wise with a cell phone. They can't, because a cell phone costs $1,000. You don't realize that because you pay for it over months, or it's built into your contract. But a cell phone costs $1,000, like a high end one.
Yeah.
How can Sony compete graphically with that?
I guess it would all depend on whatever kind of chips they decide on. If they do decide to move forward with the hardware for a mobile device, I honestly hope that they do. To me, Sony is just like Nintendo. Maybe their IPs aren't as popular. They don't ring true to gamers as well as the names like Mario, Donkey Kong, Luigi, Metroid. But they do have some really popular franchises out there that I think honestly would translate well into the mobile market. And like I was saying before, if you talk to anyone who's owned businesses, who's become successful in the world, those are the ones that have had the most failures. The people who you go through failure after failure after failure, you learn from those mistakes so you can fine tune your success. And so to me, Sony, with the failure of the Vita and the way that it was mismanaged and the way that the hardware and the software was not supported, hopefully they learn from that. If they do decide to release something new for the gamers in the mobile market, hopefully they'll have a better strategy going forward in the future.
I hope so. I kind of think
You think it's
over?
over?
Almost like a battle now. Yeah, it's not a battle worth fighting anymore. It's not for Sony. They've taken two, what I think are pretty strong shots at this. They put out powerful hardware both times. The PSP was powerful for its day. It was good hardware. I played a lot of games on the PSP, especially Street Fighter Alpha. I loved playing Street Fighter
Oh
Alpha
yeah.
on that thing. Um, and they just didn't take off. They took off. The PSP took off arguably hardware wise, but not software wise. Mainly because of what you said, all the pirating that could be done on that thing. I don't know. I don't know if they can really pull it
Well,
off. I do like this Vita hardware, but again, I don't carry it around because look how big it is, and I've already got a phone in my pocket that I can play.
it's
If
it's
I'm standing in line, I don't need dumb dual joysticks when I'm standing in line at the DMV. I just want something that distracts me enough that I don't realize that I'm standing in line at the
well,
DMV.
the thing with the Vita, right, is in theory it was a perfect handheld device. When we heard about it, it was amazing. Dual analogs, it's got shoulder buttons. It's basically a portable handheld, console experience. But it wasn't implemented properly. All to me, the games that required dual analogs were not implemented properly. Games like Resistance, Call of Duty, Black Ops Declassified, Killzone, even Killzone Mercenary, which is, I'll say, a great game for a handheld device. But when it comes to control, it just wasn't on the same level as what we're used to when we pick up a DualShock 4 or an Xbox One,
Yeah,
Xbox
yeah.
360 controller. So hopefully they learn from it. Honestly, I believe in my heart that at some point Sony will. It might be 5 years from now, it might be 10 years from now. They're going to continue. They're going to bring something else out that's going to be a competitor in the mobile space. It's just what they do, in my opinion. I don't believe they'll let it end with the Vita and just say, oh, we'll just cut our losses and let that be. They're making a lot of money on the PlayStation 4, this new hardware that's coming out. They're going to want to find a way to tie that hardware with new hardware, the same way they tried with the Vita and the original PS4. Now with the Neo, they're going to.
The space has just changed so much, though. It's so hard to I try and picture. Of course, I'm an idiot. I'm a gamer. I'm a nerd, and I'm an early adopter for almost
Mhm.
everything. So I'm gonna buy it, like whatever it is, right? But am I gonna play it? I don't know, man. I'm not gonna bring this thing around with me. Even the NX, which I'm really excited for. I'm not gonna bring that thing around with me.
I
It's gonna
am.
sit. It's gonna sit at the house. Yeah,
I
yeah. You
fucking
do tend
am.
to. Yeah, you do tend to bring those things around with you. I don't know, man.
Well,
Like in a world where there is cell phones, like I said, in my pocket, it's so hard to justify carrying around another device that only can play video games.
yeah. Well, see,
Whereas my cell phone can play video games and it's a communication device.
for me, the reason that I take my cell phone, I got the Sony Xperia phone, so it's the PlayStation phone anyway. I take my phone with me over my Vita or my 3DS predominantly because it has so many more options than just gaming. Of course, you need it for communication, but I also watch Netflix on it. I also watch my YouTube.
Yeah, yeah,
I
totally.
manage my channel from my phone. All these things, it makes it so much easier. And when you look, especially when it comes to space constraints, you don't want to burden your pocket with a Vita when you can just slide a sliver of a cell phone in there that does a lot more. So that's the problem with the handheld market. They've got to be able to
Yeah,
compete with that, and I don't know if they can without becoming a cell phone themselves. We there was one.
yeah, but I don't think that's gonna work
Yeah,
either.
well, Nokia Engage. I mean, it'd be more of the same.
Yeah, that was a particularly shitty
That
attempt,
was one of
but
the worst attempts. It looked like a Choco Taco. It was.
Sony tried to do like a PlayStation phone at one point too, didn't they?
They do. I mean, the phone that they have now is a PlayStation phone, but the original Xperia, it was a sliding phone. You slide it up, and there was actually a controller.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that
And
thing was cool looking. I never bought one,
I
obviously.
wanted it so bad, but I was looking into it. This is a few years ago. We're talking 5, 6 years ago. The games that were available on it were like PlayStation 1 classics and not even good ones. So I never got it.
Yeah,
But now you can actually play your PlayStation 4 on your PlayStation Xperia phones. You just buy the adapter for the controller. It connects to the phone. You can play it on the go, which is actually really cool. Uh,
that's dope.
yeah, it's dope. Word.
It works like the PlayStation TV.
Yeah, it works very very similar to that. It feels like you have your console on the go with you, and you just use your regular DualShock 4 controller. So the mobile market isn't going anywhere. It's changing. It's changing at such a rapid rate. It's really hard to pinpoint where it's going to be at in 5 minutes because it's so quick. But I do believe that Sony is going to be bringing something out into the marketplace that people are going to either love or hate. I just believe they're going to do something. But I want to know what you guys think in the comments. Do you guys think,
Yeah,
is it over for Sony? Are they going to bring out a new handheld device? Do you think they'll ever bring out a new one again? Would you like them to bring out a new one again? I think that I like options, right? I think that options are the best thing for gamers, and the more options, the better we are as a community. So Sony, don't give up on us. We're
I'm
not going
just,
to give up on you.
I'm scared for Sony. I'm not gonna lie to you, Beastly. Is if they were to do something really colossally stupid, get themselves financially in trouble, I mean, in their gaming division all of a sudden doesn't become the profit center that it is. Like, I'd really be scared of a future that is Microsoft and Nintendo
Oh
only,
no.
right? Like, I'm scared of that future. I value the competition that all three of these companies are bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Sony and Microsoft for the adult gamers and Nintendo for the younger gamers.
Yeah, that would be a terrible, terrible scenario. Hopefully, nothing like that ever happens. I mean, knock on some wood, man. Because
Yeah.
I play more PlayStation games than anything else. I love all of them. I love Nintendo. I love what Microsoft has to offer too. Every video on my channel last week was a Microsoft game. So, bam, for all you haters saying I don't play Xbox, bam. But
Bam. Bam. Like an emerald over here.
yeah, but the day that something like that happens, it'd be a pretty, pretty horrible day for gamers if all we have is Microsoft and Nintendo. They're vastly different. Uh, Microsoft is more in line with what Sony's doing, and Nintendo is kind of the antithesis of both. So we need these options, and hopefully Sony continues on the path they're on. Making successful hardware and software.
Yeah.
This next 12 months is really going to be a huge deciding factor. Sony's got a lot laying on the line. They got PlayStation VR. They've got PlayStation
Yeah.
Slim. They got the PlayStation
Yeah.
4.
You want to talk a little bit about that? We saw the leak of the PlayStation Slim.
Yeah, the PlayStation Slim. The images are online. Not long after Microsoft's Xbox One hit stores, Sony will be releasing its own slimmed down version of its gaming console. Pictures of the updated.
You think this thing is legit?
Yes, I have to say,
Yeah, you think it is?
it looks beautiful, man.
It does look good. If
It's-
it's not legit, it's a fucking good copy.
Yeah, or someone use a 3D printer the same way that I guess someone in the past did with the Nintendo NX controller. But
Yeah.
it looks really, really good. It appeared in an online auction, showing off some changes to the device, including what appears to be a matte finish. But the buttons are all in a different place. There's like one seam in the middle. It's more square, and it just looks really modern. I love the way it looks.
That's actually one of my biggest complaints with the PlayStation is it's like
Slanted.
trapezic.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's slanted. So if you want to get to the cords in the back,
you got
they're on a slant.
weird.
It's like really hard to fucking see back there. It's really hard to feel around because there's all vents and shit back there. If it was flat, like the new one looks like it's gonna be, it's so much easier to get like around back there. That was really drives me nuts about the PlayStation 4.
Well,
Like it looks cool.
another, yeah. I mean, to me, it looks good enough that if it's just a slim, I want to get one. Uh, it looks that good to me. It looks better than the PlayStation 4 that I have in the living room. But the thing is, right?
Yeah.
You don't know? I've s-
I don't know. With the Neo
Question-
coming
question,
out, man,
Brian.
I'm gonna buy a Slim.
a question. Have you seen just the box, or did you see the actual console?
I saw the console.
Okay, 'cause
and it looks good.
it does.
But looks alone are not enough to make me buy another PlayStation. I don't often buy the slim version of consoles if I got a working console. With the Xbox One S, it actually offered extra functionality. That's what has got me.
And extra power
kinda-
too. It definitely has. More
Yeah,
power.
right. But if this is just a slim version of the PS4, no, I'm not going to buy it. Not, especially now with the Neo rumors running rampant.
Well, I mean, this
know.
this is the thing, right? Let's go ahead and speculate. Let's speculate that this image that was leaked is the real deal PlayStation 4 Slim. If this is
Yeah.
and the box said PS4 Slim, 500 gigabyte, it looked pretty standard. It is just a PlayStation 4, nothing new. What if that's the case? What do you think? Let's speculate. We can dream. What do you think we're going to see September 7th?
Well, I want to see the Neo, but now I'm starting to suspect that I'm going to see the Slim, and they're going to push off that Neo in light of what they heard from Microsoft about the Scorpio.
Oh, if that's the case, that means they went. If that's the case, they went totally back to the drawing board. If that,
Which I don't think is unwise.
Yeah, me neither. I think it's actually a very smart idea considering all the power that Microsoft was touting at E3 this year. That'll have a Sony executive quaking in their boots. 1 minute you're calling your wife and telling her to break out the red panties. We did it. We sold 40 million PS4s. And then the very next minute she's calling you and telling you she's putting on boxers because the Xbox Scorpio has been announced. It's one of those
Yeah.
situations. So I
I mean that Scorpio comes out like imagine if they had gone ahead like if what we thought was going to happen with the Neo, and they announce a version of the PS4 that's say 1.5 to 2 times as powerful as the current PS4. That's compelling, and I'm gonna buy it
yeah,
because if I could get higher frame rates or better graphics out of the games I already have, well, hell yeah! Especially moving forward into the future, I'm gonna want the best version of these games, and I really like my PS4. But then the Xbox Scorpio comes out a year later, and I get that. I'm never buying Destiny. I'm never buying a Call of Duty. I'm never buying a Battlefield. I'm never buying any multi-platform game on the PlayStation until I'm gonna buy it on the Scorpio, right?
yeah,
Because I want the best, graphically, the best version I can get.
absolutely.
Unless there's some kind of like major problem, which we could see like forced parity in these things. But at this point, like it doesn't seem unwise to release a slim version of the PS4, hopefully with an Ultra HD Blu-ray drive. 4K compatible for video purposes. That'd be great if the Slim has that. I doubt it does.
Ooh,
I didn't see anything about it on that box.
me neither.
Did you see anything?
No, and that would definitely be on the box. I would hope.
Right? If it's in there, you'd think it'd be on the box. So I think this thing is just a straight up slim version of the PS4. And when I compare apples to apples, and I'm looking, do I want to get a Xbox One S or a PS4 Slim? Xbox One S does 4K video. It does Ultra HD Blu-ray. To me, that's the obvious answer.
What would be something that could change your mind? Would a price, let's say $229, would that change your mind if you didn't own the PS4 or the Xbox One?
Okay, so I know I told you this, but I'm not sure if you remember. I sold a PS4. I had two PS4s in the house, one downstairs, one upstairs. And I sold the one that was downstairs in preparation because I knew that I'd want a Neo. I figured I'll sell this thing as soon as possible, get as much money as I can, because I know I'm going to want the Neo. But now, right, I got that money, but I don't know. Do I want to spend it on PS Slim? Not if it doesn't have 4K. It's not the Neo. What if they don't announce the Neo? What if they announce, the Neo is coming out in September 2017? And it's going to have feature parity or at least power parity with the Scorpio. I'm not buying a PS Slim right now. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing...
I'm saving that money. I attained that money for a specific purpose, and I'm going to keep it for that purpose.
This is my thing, right? Before they announced the Xbox One S or any news about the Scorpio, I remember on the Beastly Thought show, we were all really down about Microsoft's plans for the original Xbox. It was really, really...
not looking good.
It was horrible. and so when Microsoft came out with their plan, they kind of knocked the ball out of the park in everyone's opinion. There are people who work at Sony and who work at Microsoft who get paid tons of money to figure out the logistics of this stuff. And I'm sure that whatever they're going to do on the 7th is going to have people excited. That's one thing Sony, they've kind of mastered when it comes to their pressers, when it comes to their conferences, is they leave people excited. I don't think they're going to... Go ahead.
I got 2 questions for you. The first question is, what do you think they should do? And the second question is, what do you think they're going to do on September 7th?
What do I think they should do?
Yeah.
I think that they should come out with vertical slices of games running on the proprietary 4K hardware, on the PS4, the PlayStation Neo hardware, showing us what the games will look like. So
you think they should release the Neo this year?
I don't think they should release it this year. I think they should show people what it can do this year. See, Microsoft...
I mean, if they haven't even finalized the hardware yet, there's no way they got vertical slices of software that can run on it.
You got to keep in mind that we're talking 4 and 5 months ago, developers, they already had development kits for the 4K. They've been talking about this for a long time. So
assuming that the hardware hasn't been changed.
That's assuming, so we don't know. So what I'm saying is, all Microsoft did was put on a JPEG of a GPU, and had a bunch of happy-ass people talk about what this thing can be. And everybody...
The best pixels ever.
And everybody was fucking excited. If Sony does something, they can just... And look, this is all about excitement. We're still talking about Final Fantasy VII, the remake, and that was from E3 a couple of years ago. So the excitement is what wins people over, not the games that are available now. When people see these shows, they get excited, and that's what people remember, the excitement. What would you be more excited about, seeing a JPEG of a GPU or actually seeing the theoretical output of what the PS4K can do? Maybe an early...
So you're you're straw manning me here a little bit because I'm not excited about a JPEG of a GPU. I'm excited about 6,000 teraflops of processing power.
6,000 teraflops.
Whatever the fuck it was, 6 teraflops, or I'm excited that there is a huge bump in processing power coming to a console that sits in my living room or in my office.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about. I don't give a shit about what this thing looks like. It could be 3 times the size of the Xbox One. I really don't give a fuck. What I do care about is 60 frames per second, hopefully 4K gaming from a console. Like, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited to play Destiny and Call of Duty and Battlefield and whatever game I'm playing in high res, high frames per second.
I'm hoping.
And that's the song Scorpio is singing.
Yeah, well, they are singing that, and of course, Sony is aware of that. I'm thinking if they come out and talk, what they should do, not only show hypotheticals or possibilities of what the graphics could look like, but they've also got to have some competitive numbers when it comes to the GPU specs, when it comes to the memory, when it comes to what this thing is pumping out. Because look, the society that we live in now is predominantly nerds, and I'm very, very proud to be a part of that denomination. Okay, and so that's the language that we speak. Sony knows that, and Microsoft really tapped into that vein when they announced the Scorpio. What will they do? They're definitely going to announce the PlayStation 4 Slim. They're going to definitely do that.
Yeah.
And that's really what I know for sure. And more than likely, they're going to at least talk about the Xbox Scorpio's competitor, codename Neo. Whether or not they show
you think? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting you.
No problem. Whether they show it or not remains to be seen. I would hope that they would, but I think that releasing it right now would probably be a detrimental decision on Sony's part when you take into consideration what Microsoft is working with and what they're building towards.
So they're not going to release that console that they already developed, that Neo. They're actually going to redesign it and release it in 2017.
That's what I think.
That's what you think. That's what at least I'm hoping they're doing, because I'll tell you that Neo looked really exciting to me until the Scorpio was announced, right? And I was like, "Fuck this Neo! I want the Scorpio, man!" Like. Obviously I'm on the Planet Destiny podcast, and people ask me all the time, like, if the Scorpio comes out, are you going to switch from PlayStation to the Xbox Scorpio? I'm like, fuck yeah, I am. Like, if it's offering higher frame rate, better graphical fidelity, the same game, I'm going to be playing it on the better version, man. And that's why I play it on the PlayStation now, is because it's the better version of the game. And if that doesn't continue to be the case, and you gotta I'm fucking out.
I mean, look. Let's keep it real, right? I love PlayStation. I've been playing PlayStation for years.
Yeah.
If the Xbox Scorpio comes out and the PlayStation Neo is just what we've heard so far, if the rumors of what we heard, this thing is true and it doesn't compare to the Xbox Scorpio, all my multi-plats are going on the Xbox Scorpio. That's just plain and simple.
Yeah.
It's not even a debate. I mean, I want the best experience, period. And if it's going to be a better game, it's going to run smoother, look better, have a higher pixel density, then I want to go to whatever console offers that, barring PC, because I like playing games on my consoles over PC.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, you can get this shit now if you just, upgrade your rig. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
Even though I have a pretty decent PC. But yeah, if the 4K comes out and it's what we've heard up until this point, the Scorpio is more than likely going to mop the floor with it. So Sony's they've got a plan for it. I mean, I think it would be a little disingenuous of me or anybody to think that Sony's going to come out with what we already heard after this news of the Scorpio. You can't.
You can. You can. They didn't make any official announcements about it.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about if they are continuing with the rumors that we heard of a slightly beefed up PS4 versus the Scorpio. The Scorpio would still be twice as powerful as a slightly beefed up PS4.
Right.
The PS4 that we have now is 1.4 teraflops, man. Yeah. So compare
that's not the difference between an Xbox One and a PS4 now. That's a pretty small difference between an Xbox One and a PS4. Double the power? That's a big fucking difference.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I'm excited about this Sony conference. It's a matter of days away, man. It's kind of like
it is. It's really coming soon.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they show, I'm going to be down watching it. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for some new hardware.
Yeah,
and hopefully some awesome game reveals too.
Yeah,
I'm always
it would be
excited
cool to see
stuff.
some games. It'd be cool to see some games running on the new hardware. I do believe that they are going to announce. They're going to announce that Slim, which obviously got leaked. Theoretically, we think it did. And I do believe that they're going to announce the Neo. I do think that Neo's still going to come out in October of this year. And I don't think that's a wise move. If I was running Sony right now, once I heard about that Scorpio, I would have fucking said, fuck that.
Cut.
We ain't doing that,
I mean,
fam.
we gotta wait. I mean, the thing is, Sony, they know how big of a lead they have right now. They got double the consoles sold. If Microsoft comes out with this Scorpio and it's much better than the Neo,
Yeah.
Microsoft will catch up, man.
Yeah.
They'll
And I
catch
know
up,
that
and
I know you don't like this idea of like kind of moving forward in a console generation, like just beefing up the power continuously and still being able to play all your games. I actually love the idea. And if I can play all the games I have on Xbox One on the Scorpio and they just look better, like that's like a no lose, man.
we actually have a little story about that in our news.
Oh, right. We got news.
Aaron Green, Xbox rep Aaron Greenberg thinks that the future is without console generations, highlighting the fact that iterative hardware allows the Xbox platform to continue to build upon its established community and growing library of games. So what Aaron Greenberg thinks is, first of all, he said that the Xbox Scorpio is going to be their last generation. That everything from that point on is going to be iterative and is going to just be advances and upgrades versus new console generations.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the direction that you're talking about, where things don't take a drastic change, but you do see advances in hardware to the point where, okay, you're going to upgrade, but everything continues to work. What they're thinking at Microsoft from this point on with their hardware is they want complete backwards compatibility from this day on with every single machine that they create. They want anybody on the Xbox One to be able to play on the Xbox Scorpio and whatever comes next after that, and be able to continue to enjoy these games that just have higher resolution and frame rate. That is a good thing to hear, and that's really, it speaks to the heart of what you were just saying. The only thing about that is, I feel that we would be kind of stagnated personally. I like that jump in console generation. I like to see those changes be made. And if hardware continues to advance at the rate it's been doing for the last 15 years, every couple of years you will be able to see a new console generation because hardware is going to advance that fast. The idea that we're going to just continue to play backwards compatible games and higher resolution, to me, it kind of segments the possibility of true advances in hardware when you're constantly playing backwards compatible games instead of playing games that are made for new hardware. That's my thoughts on it. I think if a new console comes out with 6 teraflops of GPU power and super fast RAM, that if you're playing an Xbox One game on it, you're still playing an up-res Xbox One game. I think that the possibility of playing a game that's made to really push the envelope of a machine that boasts 6 teraflops and super fast RAM and all these things that the Xbox Scorpio has is what will be missing. I feel like we'll constantly be playing something from an older generation up-res to look great. Of course, it's going to play fine. It's going to look better than any of the older generations, but that one game that could push the envelope for the new hardware will never exist because all it's doing is playing old, backwards compatible games up-res to a new hardware standard. That's my point.
That's an understandable concern, man. It's like if they always have to keep in mind not just the current hardware, but the last 3 generations. Look at the iPhone, right? When you develop a game for the iPhone, okay, we got the 7 coming out, so we definitely want to target that. But so many people have the 6S, and so many people have the 6. Like millions and millions of people have the 6S and the 6. Do we really want to make a game that's so graphically intensive that we leave all those people behind? The benefit would be that if you have a game that is just running on the 7, you can make it graphically amazing. But you're really limiting really limiting your player base. But if you announce it, if you come out right when the 7 comes out, you can really blow people away. And
that's the part that's the double-edged sword, right? Because when Sony and Microsoft are talking about this iterative hardware and these advances in technology, the first thing that they say is nobody's going to get left behind. Right. We want all the PlayStation 4, all the Xbox One gamers to know that when we create this new hardware, the games are still going to work across these half-generation consoles.
Yeah.
And that is a good thing to hear. But it's a double-edged sword because if a developer wants to really tap into the potential of that hardware power, and they start creating a game that will run and really push the envelope on the newer generation of hardware, and it's just not possible on that last generation, then the people they feel lied to. Just say an awesome developer creates a game for the Scorpio that looks incredible, but there's no way that this game is going to run on the Xbox One. And Microsoft sees this game and they're like, this game it's the best looking game ever made. It looks incredible, story's incredible. Do we lie to the Xbox One gamers and not let this game come out, or do we let the developer go on with their original dream by pushing the envelope and not worry about pissing off the gamers who we told weren't going to be left behind? That's the thing.
That's a theoretical issue that I don't know would actually happen in real life.
Yeah, well, who
Because,
knows?
the way we've basically seen 3D development on PC go, pretty linearly for a long time now. People
Yeah.
can upgrade PCs, they can upgrade graphics cards. In the game, it's the same fucking game. It just looks better and better and better as you go. There's no like new features or anything coming out because you bought a 1080. Like the game doesn't actually physically change if you have a 1080 over a 780. It just looks a fucking load better. And I think the console manufacturers see that. It's not like we're gonna get a leap from, from like the Nintendo,
The
Super
NES
Nintendo
to the Wii.
yeah. We're not looking at any leaps that are 2D to 3D anymore. We're just looking
It's
at
already
getting
done.
3D better and better and better. And the way you do that is by throwing power at it. And if they could throw power at it slowly, the difference between a PS4 game and a PS4 Neo game would be, higher res textures, faster frame rates, more lighting effects, all the stuff that you see in the
thing.
options of a PC game
PC is going to
would just be
available.
automatically selected on or off on the PS Neo and the PS.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting nonetheless. I can't wait to see what happens. In the next year, a lot of the gaming world is going to change. Within the next 2 years, we're going to be sitting in a totally different spot and looking at God, how well this company did, how well this console did, this hardware is amazing, or who failed, in their endeavors. And I can't wait to see what happens. Continuing on with a little bit of news, we do have a little bit. Our newsman was not available today.
He left us
But
in the
Metal
wilderness.
in the wilderness of Canada. Konami is not going to stop until they piss off the entire world. They're like Pinky in the Brain, but they don't want to take over. They want to piss everybody off. Metal Gear Survive was revealed at this year's Gamescom. This new take on the series pits you and up to 3 other players in an online co-op scenario where stealth mechanics and tactics play a big part in your survival. Expect insane action and epic Metal Gear battles, all that plus a AAA experience for under $60. So this is big news. A lot of people have been talking about this. I actually didn't get a chance to do any news. I've been hanging out with my cousin all weekend. But Konami is now doing a spin-off on the Metal Gear series, and a lot of people are not upset with this because they feel like now a beloved franchise has been, a pinnacle of stealth action for, over a decade, well over a decade, is now going to go down the crapshoot because the heart and soul of the series is gone. And Konami is going to do anything they can to, squeeze blood from a turnip and get as much money as they can out of this franchise, even if it means killing the franchise. Now, I did see the trailer. Of course, they're using the magnificent Fox engine to create this game. It does look great, but even watching the trailer, I didn't feel like I was looking at a Metal Gear game. Have you had a chance to see the trailer or hear anything about this news, Brian?
This isn't Metal Gear unless Kojima's involved, right? It's just
Keep it real.
it's true though, isn't it? Like you can call it Metal Gear, but let's be honest. Let's be honest. Be honest with me and be honest with yourself. It's not Metal Gear if Kojima's not involved. It's not.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing, right? They want to capitalize on this new trend, which of course is really, really big in console and online games. Is this always online type of co-op experience where you and 3 of your buddies can get together and go out and stealthily take out enemies, AI controlled enemies, and Metal Gears, which does sound fun, but it does not sound like Metal Gear.
No.
It is not what Metal Gear has ever been about. And as a company, I used to love Konami, man. They made all the Turtles games and Contra and Castlevania and Silent Hill. They're one of my favorite companies out there when it came to the gaming world, and now it's like a company I loathe. I hate Konami for what they've done in some of their business dealings and dealing with some of these people who worked, with the company for many, many years. This is a game that, unless somehow magnificently it comes out and it's just an awesome game, everybody loves it, and it gets tens across the board, and Briar Rabbit buys it. Unless that happens, I'm going to stay away from Konami at all costs. They need to know that the choices they've made, as far as Konami, as far as Kojima Productions, as far as Silent Hills, as far as their dealings, mean something to the consumers. And so I will not be buying this game or looking to buy it anytime soon. But you guys let us know in the comments what you think about it. We're always anxious to hear your thoughts. Would you support buying Metal Gear Survive and playing that with 3 of your buddies online? Does it sound fun to you? To me, it's just not that great.
I mean, the idea does sound somewhat appealing now.
The thing is, right, when I first saw the trailer, I watched it with my wife, and I was like, that would be so fun to play together. And then in the back of my mind, my brain got slapped. It's like, wait a minute, you're talking about Konami. And I was like, fuck Konami.
What if they did something similar to that, but with Last of Us? Like a multiplayer Last of Us, a cooperative Last of Us. That could be dope, right?
Stop it, Brian.
Imagine if they did the next Last of Us in kind of like a semi-open world, and you could play it. You could play it like with like a group of 3 people all on the same team fighting together.
Oh my god!
How sweet would that be? That'd be fun.
Oh
That'd be a fun game.
Yeah, well, check it out. My brother's down here. He's an engineer. He came down to Georgia and did some work Thursday and Friday of last week. Stayed with me. He flew out today, but he had never seen The Last of Us ever. And so I showed him the game. I gave him the controller. He played through the first 10 minutes. And, of course, you saw the emotion coming from his eye.
Right, yeah.
I mean, he said, Brett, this is a game I'm definitely going to buy. I have to have it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, good. And I showed my brother the same game, and he bought a PS4 the very next day. So if they were able to do that and somehow keep that same feel, that same energy, that same atmosphere, but introduce other people to play it co-op, I wouldn't leave the world.
It'd be like so fun, dude.
It would be like The Division in a much better world.
Yeah, right? Because The Division, like, the promise of The Division was so hype. If it had played like The Last of Us, oh, shit, I'd be all over that game.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, let's make that game.
I wish I could, my friend.
Oh, my God.
So
I just got a semi. It's got a little chub.
Show me, all right, so I haven't had a chance to play the Titanfall 2 alpha / beta.
Me neither.
I didn't even find out about it. I did see the video and footage of the game, and it did look good. I saw the single player trailer, and my initial thoughts would have been that people were super excited about Titanfall 2, especially now when it's a multi-platform game. But apparently, the pre-orders for Titanfall 2 are extremely low. If Titanfall 2's success lied solely on its pre-orders, then it would surely be a dud. With 12 weeks until the game's launch, when compared to the original Titanfall's pre-order numbers, it falls very short. 12 weeks before Titanfall 1's launch, there were 43,000 pre-orders on the Xbox 360 and 160,000 pre-orders on the Xbox One. Titanfall 2's pre-orders are only at 19,000 per platform, a number so low that it didn't even make the pre-order listing.
Let's see where they end up. First of all, okay, I got problems with this story because it's fucking ridiculous. The fact that you're judging the validity and the success of a game based on the pre-orders, go fuck yourself, first of all. Second of all, now that I'm looking at people who are playing this game. I haven't played it yet. I'm really looking forward to playing it because everybody knows I love Titanfall. I'm really looking forward to Titanfall 2. Everybody's loving this fucking game, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if the pre-orders go fucking crazy. They got another test build, I think, coming out next week. I wouldn't be surprised if they have an open beta between now and launch. But people are loving this game. They're saying it's way fun. We get a single player as opposed to with Titanfall. We did not get a single player. It's going to come out on the Xbox One and on the PS4 as well as PC. I mean, all things are pointing towards success with this game. It does have to get over some of the hump that the previous game there is some ill will toward this game based on all the hype that was coming out for it, and then the game came out and it was like, well, it's good. Like the gameplay is awesome, but there ain't a lot to it, you know?
That's the thing, right? When I played Titanfall, I was late to the party. You know that you had
Yeah,
already left a while before
right.
that. But as far as the community went, Titanfall, the reason that it failed was because of the lack of content, but not just story content. From what I understand, because I didn't have a chance to play through the game and get a feel for all the weapons, but there was a lack of abilities, a lack of Titans. There was a lack of weapons too.
Yeah,
There was only like 12 weapons that you
yeah,
could
there
use
weren't
in the
many,
entire game. And so
and there
what it
was
felt
one
like
good
was,
one.
yeah, they had a great engine and they had a good looking game running on it, and they focused on that and wanted to get it out. Of course, they got shareholders and people who really want them to meet deadlines.
Yeah,
But I think Titanfall would have been huge if they spent a little bit more time
yeah. If
refining
they
and
had
that
another year for
particular.
Titanfall, I think it could have been something really special. I think Titanfall 2 is more of what we expected to see when we got Titanfall, and I'm looking forward to playing the campaign in this game because that world is pretty fleshed out just based on like the very limited like view of it we got from the original. Like I want to play more of this. I want to be in this world more. It looks cool. The gameplay is phenomenal. I love the addition of the grappling hook. From what I've seen of it, it just really opens up how useful you are as a pilot. Like it looks like it's gonna be a blast, man. I've watched it. I don't know. I'd say about 30 minutes worth of gameplay, and I'm really excited to play.
I didn't get a chance to see all that gameplay, but I do love a grappling hook. I just finished playing. I didn't get a chance to tell you what I played this week. We didn't
Oh
talk
shit!
about it
Yeah,
at the beginning of the show.
my
But
bad.
my wife and I, the reason I haven't been buying a lot of games, guys, is not because I'm poor, because I'm doing okay.
Doing all right.
But
Doing all right.
I'm surviving, brother. But for me, the reason I haven't been buying every game, No Man's Sky, games like this that are triple A's and everybody's excited about, is because I've probably got, Brian, I'm not kidding, 30 games I've never played. You know, just sitting collecting dust or
Yeah.
collecting or taking up hard drive space right now. And so I've been actively trying to get through them. I've been doing reviews. And yesterday I actually finished Dying Light, the DLC to Dying Light. And man, I had a blast. And you just made that come to the back of my mind when you talked about Titanfall 2's grappling hook, because the grappling hook in Dying Light is a necessity. You have to use it. They've added so many new things in Dying Light, the following. I know this game is kind of old, but I got to get through my backlist, guys. I'm sorry. But I had a great time playing it. And yeah, grappling hooks rule.
Yeah, they
So
do.
now, the last little bit of news that we have on today's Beastly Thoughts show concerns Nintendo. Nintendo's 3DS sales are up 80% year over year on Pokemon Go's success. The huge success of Pokemon Go has helped push Nintendo's 3DS to the top in hardware sales and software sales. The mighty handheld is up 80% compared to last year, and Pokemon Omega Red and Alpha Sapphire sales have seen major boosts, and most believe that it's due to the ever popular Pokemon Go. So the software sales and the hardware sales of Nintendo's 3DS have gone through the roof. A lot of people are attributing it to Pokemon Go, which is the biggest mobile game out there right now on iOS and Android. It's kind of funny to me that people play Pokemon Go and get excited and go buy Pokemon Omega Red and Alpha Sapphire because they're playing Pokemon Go on their phones. To me, that's really amazing.
That's cool, man.
And
That's
and
great.
Nintendo's hardware is the biggest selling hardware. They they outsold the PlayStation and the Xbox as well. So they're
That's
really doing
amazing.
well with that 3DS.
Right?
And how old is a 3DS now? It has to be
8 years? 5
fucking
years? I don't know.
it's at least five.
It's
I'll
at
probably
least,
say
right?
around 6.5. Yeah, 6.5, 7 years. That's still selling like that. Wow. And that says something about the mobile market, man. You know, we talked about it earlier, the
Yeah.
mobile phones and
Yeah,
the
it does.
tablets and how big a deal it is, but people still are going to their dedicated mobile gaming hardware when it comes to Nintendo. So Nintendo
Yeah.
has their hand on the pulse of the world when it comes to that. And that's why I was saying Sony still has a chance. Because if you do it right, if you build it right, they will come.
You gotta get
And
support though
Nintendo,
too. You gotta get developer support on there. They're not the Nintendo first party is not Nintendo, you know? Or I'm sorry, Sony
yeah,
first party is not Nintendo.
yeah. And that's the thing that's keeping the 3DS alive too.
Yeah.
Nintendo's first party. You know, they got so many great games. I'm happy to see Nintendo seeing a little bit of success. You know, the Pokemon Go story has been really big in the
Yeah.
news. I still haven't tried it once. I
I'm
get pop-ups.
surprised.
No. I'm not saying it because I have anything against the game. It's I just don't have time.
Ain't got the
I
time.
just,
Yeah.
you know, I don't have time. And so maybe one day when I do, I'll try it. But I keep getting pop-ups on my iPad saying, download Pokemon Go and get out there and go. And I'm like, no, not not
Do your
right
kids
now.
play it? Do your kids have
Yeah,
phones?
everybody does. Yeah,
Yeah,
Nova
and they're
has a
playing
phone.
it.
Yeah, they don't stop. Every time we go to the store, we go to Kroger or Walmart, everybody's in the parking lot. You know, there was one on my arm in my here in the house. I didn't even want to look at the screen. You know, I don't want to get involved. It's one
I don't want to
I'm
get
not one.
involved. I don't want to get addicted to this particular
It,
heroin addiction.
that's honestly that's exactly how I feel about it. You
Yeah.
know, everybody's super excited about this game, this application, this game on iOS and Android, and everybody's playing it, and that kind of scares me. It's like the whole Facebook craze when Facebook first came out, and I was still on MySpace, man, and
Yeah.
everybody was saying, "Beastly, come over to Facebook," and I was like, "Hell no, it's just blue. I don't want to go see some blue shit. I can put background music on my page on MySpace, okay? I can put a picture of a woman doing whatever as my background. This is women do stuff on MySpace." And I didn't want to do it. And then I finally
What
found
kind of
out.
stuff? Like gardening?
Absolutely. You know how hoes are. You know how them hoes be, Brian.
We'll leave that one up to your imagination, I guess.
Yeah. You guys are so damn dirty. Yeah. That's how I feel. I feel like if I was to download Pokemon Go, I'd be, I'd go crazy. Because it's not something that's just getting the kids. This is getting people our age, it's getting people middle age, and it's even getting the elderly involved. And I feel like that's some form of mind control. And I like to have control, you know?
Well, what's
I want
cool,
to,
I gotta give that game up. It's got fucking huge problems, right? But
yeah.
the base of it is it's fun to go out and catch these things. It's just fun. You know,
That's
it
what I'm
is.
saying.
And when you got your kids doing it too, it's fun to go out as a group, as a family. It's like it's a really easy thing that a family can get behind and do together.
Mm.
And that's cool. It's really cool.
Yeah, well, my son got in trouble yesterday. Kids will be kids.
Yep.
But my 14-year-old, we went to see the UFC fight, pay-per-view last night.
Yeah.
And we got to see Connor and Nate Diaz do their thing. Do it. I mean, they went off fighting.
Yeah.
And the whole time, my 14-year-old was in the corner on his phone. And I said, "Son, what are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, nothing, Dad." I said, "Get off your phone. Just turn it off." He was like, "Yes, sir." Turned it off. About 20 minutes later, I look, he's in the dining room at the table on his phone.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So I asked him what he was doing. I said, "Bring me your phone." He got up and came into the living room and gave me his phone, but he had discreetly turned it off. I said, "Why you turn off the phone?" He said, "Oh, my battery was going dead." So I turned it back on, went to the application he was on, which is called Kick. And the name of Kick is great because if parents read what the kids are saying on there, then they're going to go kick their kid's ass. It's great. And so I looked, and my son was talking to some woman from Thailand and asking her did she want a video chat. So, yeah, maybe Pokemon Go is a little bit better for him than fucking Kick.
Yeah. You know what I like
That's
about I got the iPhones for my kids is that
what?
I can control all the apps that get installed on it. I
Oh,
get a
man,
little
that's,
notification that pops up on my screen that says, "Your child would like to download this app." And I'm like, no,
hey,
not
man,
so much.
I might have to make the iOS switch if that's the fucking case. Because, these kids are getting older. They're getting hair in strange places, and they're starting to think of strange things. I'm trying to keep them focused, man. High school,
Yeah.
college. Don't worry about everything else. And it's a really tough job being a parent, Briar. You know how tough
Yeah.
it is, man.
We caught one of them doing that. Checking out the prawn, as the kids say, and
Yeah.
we confronted him about it, and he denied it. I said, "Look, you're not old enough to talk about it. You're not old enough to look at it." That's
You
the
get
deal
that.
right there.
Yeah, and see, the thing is, for young people, don't lie to your parents because they've already been where you are, and it's very easy for them to catch you up in a lie. So I'm reading my son's text last night. He introduced himself to this girl in Thailand.
Yeah.
Then she introduced her. Then she introduced herself.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, "Oh, you're so pretty." And I'm like, "Way to go, son. She is pretty." I'm thinking that, right? Then he was like, "You want a video chat tonight?" And she was like, "I don't really know you." And so I asked him, I said, "Why are you asking people you don't know to video chat?" He said, "Oh, Dad, I know her. We met before." I said, "You just introduced yourself 5 minutes ago." And then he didn't say anything else. And
I'm hoping she's gonna
that's
get naked, Dad.
when keeping it real goes wrong. So, keep your eye on your damn kids because they will try you.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid. If we had the kind of stuff that these kids have now, Briar, the world would be in flames right now.
Oh yeah, and our
All right.
parents would have had no fucking way how to deal with
Oh,
it, man. It was
God.
like I'm on the edge of my seat, and I'm a nerd.
Trying to keep up.
Yeah,
My mom,
yeah.
my mom doesn't know what YouTube is. I tell her I work for YouTube. She's like, "Where is that?" I'm like,
Mhm.
"It's somewhere, but it's
It's a long
online."
commute, Mom.
Yeah.
But luckily, I get to work from home.
I wanted to give a shout out to Mr. Robbie today. He's not here, but we feel for you, Robbie. We held it down for you the same way that you asked us to. I do want to apologize to you guys because the very last second before we did the show, we had to kind of get everything together. Today, everything was kind of mixed up. I want to give a shout out to everybody who's watching the show on Twitch and on YouTube. Thank you guys for supporting Briar and myself and Robbie. It means the world to us. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. We had a new subscriber too. I wanted to shout that out. I think it was
What their name is?
Silent Doom. Thank you for the new subscription. I appreciate that.
Silent Doom.
Silent Doom.
Thank you.
Hey
Silent.
Ghost, how's it going down
Silent.
there? We didn't. We almost made it through a show without getting like perverted and like, talking about. We did pretty well, I think. Like we held it down, especially without having Robbie here. Like you'd think that we'd just go off the deep end. We're set loose, but we did pretty well today.
We did damn good, right?
Yeah.
We've been doing this together. We've been together for it's a long lasting relationship.
Is it coming up on 3 years or 2 years? I think it's 3 years.
Coming up on 3.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah, so we've been doing this for a very fucking long time. We've already hit the 2-year mark at episode 110.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in our third, and that's how marriages work, guys. You gotta through the good and bad. When the third wheel of the tricycle leaves, you got to keep on riding.
Yeah. BC keeps wanting to tell me he wants an open relationship. I'm like, no, man, we ain't doing that. I'm too jealous.
Whatever you want.
I'm too jealous.
Whatever you want. This ring is all you. Whatever you want, brother. Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week again. Have an awesome day.
Peace.